Hello everyone and welcome into this KREM 2 Plus exclusive live stream on this Weather Impact Alert Day. A lot happening weather-wise for the inland Northwest and the Spokane area, mainly the high heat as you're all noticing, but now we're dialed into what the air quality currently is and where that could lead in the middle of what has been our hottest stretch of the weather for this entire year, besting the entire summer season up to this point. Temperatures pretty close to 100 degrees as it stands. So for today, which is September 3rd, and tomorrow, we're still under weather impact alert days, primarily due to the high heat. But we are monitoring the air quality very closely, as some areas, especially in Stevens County, as you'll see, already reporting unhealthy air quality due to the wildfires that are burning more aggressively. So definitely a 1-2 punch. So let's start on the heat side of this equation. First of all, there are still heat advisories and extreme heat warnings that are all still in effect for today and tomorrow. Now, generally speaking, temperatures will be at about 95 to 105 degrees. And of course, the extreme heat warnings tends to mean that those are the locations more likely to hit 100 degrees and above. Now, Spokane has been just shy, and I would not have been surprised to see these alerts actually upgraded into the extreme heat warning, especially considering that this is now early September, and this kind of heat is hyper unusual. If we got this in July, I probably wouldn't have batted an eye. Normal heat for that part of the season, but this deep into summer, this is really unusual stuff to stay this hot this deep into the summer. So here's how it's been. First day of September, 99 degrees and a record high temperature. Yesterday, also 99 degrees, also a record high for the day. And guess what? Today's exactly the same. 99, the forecast, would also be a daily record high. Now, it's not just the daily records, it's also the all-time September records that have already been broken. 98 was the hottest it had ever been. That was from a record in 1888 in one of the first years of record keeping in Spokane. And then back during a heat wave of 1988, there was also a later September 1938 date that was also at 98 degrees. But those records all bested by the first 2 days of this month at 99. Now, we've never hit 100 in the month of September, and should we do, that would also be the record for the latest 100-degree day ever in Spokane. The latest actually came back in 2022, just 3 summers ago on August 31st, just a day shy of actually getting into the month of September. But yeah, there we go, 99 the forecast today, above the record of 98 would obviously match the last 2 days in a row. And there will be locations pushing that 100-degree mark. You see even up to 105 in Grand Coulee and 104 in Omak, even 101 Colville to Deer Park, and 97 still in Pullman. So upper 90s to low triple digits all throughout the inland Northwest. This is extreme heat this time around. Back in July, we had a couple days that hit 97, and so far that was the hottest of the whole summer season. It just took to the start of meteorological fall technically to best that at 99. So this is absolutely the hottest weather we've had all year, and it just seems like it won't quit. We are still under our weather impact alert days through this Thursday to coincide with the heat advisories. I will say Thursday is not looking quite as extreme as today, but typically we use weather impact alert days for 95 and above. We've easily cleared that bar. I think Thursday will be a bit closer to 95, but today is absolutely near that 99, 100-degree turn for most of the area. Of course, what you need to know is stay hydrated, stay cool, look after your other family members and your neighbors, make sure their AC is still working, and just keep an eye on your pets as well, because they can suffer from heat exhaustion as much as we can as humans. So make sure they have plenty of water and a cool place to cool down. Of course, never leave the pets in the cars that are parked outside. Temperatures can soar to dangerous levels very, very, very quickly. So just keep that in mind. Your normal heat safety protocol here, just now pretty deep into September. Now we'll transition into the air quality section of this forecast. And we just got an update within 30 minutes ago that air quality alerts were expanded to now cover all of eastern Washington, and all of central Washington. Before, it was just a smaller corridor that included Spokane County but was mainly focused in Stevens County. But now you see the air quality alerts issued all throughout our region. This is due to the active wildfires that are burning, are producing a lot of smoke and a lot of haze. And in some cases, the air quality is dropping as a result of these local wildfires, especially in northeastern Washington. Meanwhile, there are red flag warnings at the same time. In this case, there's no wind to speak of here, but the insane amount of heat coupled with the unstable conditions make this particularly dangerous for fire activity. Once again, the active fires in northeastern Washington are going to burn pretty aggressively today in the unstable weather environment. And when we talk about instability, that oftentimes can lead to thunderstorms. It is dry enough that it's not necessarily a part of the forecast, but for the mountain's sake, it's usually one or two just clouds will tap into that instability and whatever moisture it can hold. And even one or two extra thunderstorms does elevate the fire danger all that much more, because stray dry lightning strikes can oftentimes spark fire. We actually believe that that is the case for the Rattlesnake Fire, which is in southern Ferry County. Here's the weather satellite from the visible perspective here, and all this gray that you see, this is all wildfire smoke. This is not traditional cloud cover. That is the visual difference here. And in some cases, you can actually see little streaks of these gray. These are the wildfires in northeastern Washington that are burning more aggressively today just because of how hot and unstable the weather conditions are. So this will add to the smoke that is already present. It looks hazy from Spokane's perspective, probably only gets worse through the day. And for locations and communities that are kind of in between these half dozen fires that we're watching in northeastern Washington, the air quality can certainly drop by quite a bit. That is the case for areas like Chewelah, Colville, and Kettle Falls, especially being so close to kind of a trio of fires. The Crown Creek being one of the largest, and the Rattlesnake Fire also several thousand acres burned already in just their first day or two of existence here. So this is what we're watching. Thankfully, the winds are just outright calm, so that's not a factor here, but the heat and instability just keeps that fire burning pretty rapidly and pretty aggressively. Now you look at the smoke forecast, this is kind of the general sense here, and guess what? In general, it's hazy outside. At times, it'll just get smokier and smokier, and again, it'll depend on how much more smoke we see from these northeastern Washington fires here. But our modeling just keeps this blanket of wildfire smoke in place for at least the next 2 days. And even at this stage, if you look here, this is about 9 p.m. on Thursday night, could even get heavier across northeastern Washington or far north Idaho. So that is a consideration. Smoke forecasting is usually difficult beyond just 2 days. So once we get to Friday and Saturday, there's definitely some unknowns, because this is a pretty new in terms of weather forecasting and the modeling for this kind of parameter. So we'll take it 2 days at a time here, but these next 2 days, hazy at minimum, but at times we are going to have unhealthy air quality reports in some regions. We'll take you to Colville, this out of Stevens County. The latest report as of 11 a.m. on this Wednesday, 152 for that AQI. So just barely in the unhealthy category, but it is there. I also noticed there was a sensor in nearby Kettle Falls that did get to a 212 AQI, which would put it at very unhealthy. It was the only sensor that I saw in that region. So probably not to that level mostly, but I think we will have unhealthy at times air quality, be that either the outright red category or this unhealthy for sensitive groups, as it's called. I think you'll range in this spot pretty comfortably for the next 2 days. Now in Spokane, the AQI is 80. That puts us at moderate, which is okay. It's acceptable, but it doesn't take much for that to drop into the orange category either. This latest map here, not my favorite map to use on TV, but it definitely has the area correct in this case. Notice that it is Stevens County and now into Lincoln County. So areas like Davenport to Wilbur, now also likely experiencing some air quality drops in that region. Spokane, as you see, mostly in the yellow, mostly in the moderate, but very, very close by. So we're watching the air quality for the next 2 days in the middle of this brutal heat wave. Again, it's been the hottest weather so far of 2025, and it's not going to quit, at least not for another day. At 99 degrees, that would be a third straight day of record high temperatures in Spokane, and plenty of spots will be at 100 and above. Thursday, probably not a record, but still a very hot 95 degrees. Notice that the heat does not ease very quickly either. If you're making weekend plans, including going to the Spokane County Interstate Fair, well, Friday and Saturday is still going to be hot. Low 90s for those first 2 days of the fair. I think the true heat relief will be on its way come next week. More on the rain chances maybe a little bit later in a future forecast. But today's focus has been mostly on the heat and a bit on the air quality. But that heat not slowing down. This has been the hottest it's been all year long, and it continues again today. Heat advisories and extreme heat warnings continue for 2 more days as our temperatures are pushing the 100-degree mark for the first time this year in Spokane. I'm Meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thank you very much for joining us on the KREM 2 Plus live stream today. You can always catch me on Up with KREM from 5 to 9 a.m. and at the KREM 2 News at noon, which will be underway in just a few minutes. So latest will be there. Otherwise, have a pleasant day and stay cool, everyone.